Dashrath is covered in blood, shouting profanities at the hill. He throws rocks at it, blaming the inanimate object for ruining his life. The rocks create sparks that light the hill on fire, but do little to no harm to its stability. This initial scene provides the symbolism of Manji versus the mountain. Fellow villagers look at Dashrath, calling him a lunatic. Their words do not bother him, as he continues to challenge the hill, swearing to defeat it one day. A flashback of his past shows us that he was born to a Musahar family, which is considered the lowest rank of India's caste system. According to tradition, he was married to a girl named Faguna Devi when he was only a child. Belonging to a lower caste, Dashrath's father has to work for the head of their village, the Mukhia. He is a sadistic leader belonging to an upper caste who views Dashrath and people like him as mere servants, below him and subhuman. Dashrath's father has borrowed some money from the Mukhia, which he cannot pay back because of the interest. The Mukhia has a unique way of punishing the people who do not pay off their loans. He impales their feet with iron nails. Dashrath's father begs for mercy, but the man makes his teenage son Ruab beat him. In return for the loan, Mukhia asks for Dashrath as his servant. His father forces the kid to do as the Mukhia says, but wanting to live freely, Dashrath runs away from his village. He goes to a city named Dabad and starts to work at a coal mine, even though he is only a child. After 7 years, he buys new clothes and returns to the village. At a stop before the village, he meets a beautiful woman selling toys. She instantly catches his eye, but the two are strangers, so he doesn't expect much. The people of the village are overjoyed because the government has implemented a new law abolishing the Indian caste system. The former lower caste people dance in the streets, celebrating that they can finally enter the temples and touch everyone. However, the so-called upper caste men guard the temple's gates to keep the untouchable people from entering. The commotion ends when Dashrath accidentally lights a street vendor of fireworks, creating a series of blasts. Following that, he gets on a bus to Galore and helps the pretty girl from earlier to board it. They sit on the roof and finally reach the village. The first person he meets is Mukhia, who thinks Dashrath is a foreigner because of his clean clothes. Dashrath hugs Ruab and greets them, but the men find out that he is actually the runaway lower caste boy, as they beat him to a pulp for touching them. With his torn clothes, Dashrath goes home and meets his father and childhood friends. His mother had died over the years, but that didn't bother him. His friends suggest that he bring his childhood wife, Faguna, home now that he is returned. The next day, Dashrath and his father visit her house and ask her father for permission, but the man refuses to hand his daughter to a runaway like Dashrath. Her father has found a well-to-do guard from the city who is willing to marry her. Dashrath starts to walk away, but notices that Faguna is actually the beautiful girl he met at the bus stop. Following that, he makes it his mission to bring her home no matter what. The two start to date in secret. In a carnival, he takes advantage of the crowd and brings her away from her parents. He promises to make a lot of money and prove to her father that he is worthy of her. The pair enjoys the fair together. Dashrath also buys Faguna one anklet instead of both because he is short on money. Yet, she is happy with whatever she gets when it comes to him. At night, Dashrath and his friends are working at Mukhia's brick factory when suddenly, a man falls into a burning flame. They try to save him, but Mukhia's son, Ruab, stops them, claiming that putting out the flame will ruin the bricks. The poor man dies in the fire while his wife cries helplessly. Dashrath drinks with his other friend, mourning the dead. They see a falling star and say that the friend who died has a better life than them because at least he got to leave the hell that they inhabited. The following day, Dashrath was informed that Faguna is forcefully being married to the man from the city. He crashes the wedding and threatens to kill the entire village if his wife is married to someone else. Moments later, he elopes with her and her relatives follow them. But they hide in a ditch and save themselves. After that day, the two start to live as a happy couple. One day, as Faguna is selling toys in the streets, Ruab approaches her and starts to touch her inappropriately. Dashraf sees this and beats him up. For the first time, his lower caste friends also join him. Scared for her husband's life, Faguna stops him and runs home. She is furious at him for starting a fight with someone as powerful as Mukia's son. Dashraf tries to reconcile her, but she says she doesn't want to live with him anymore and walks away. Dashraf is determined to get her back, so he follows her to the village's waterfall, talking to Faguna, revealing that she is pregnant. Dashraf dances in happiness, making Faguna forgive him. But trouble waits for him at home because Ruab has brought men to take revenge for his humiliation. When they do not find Dashraf, they kidnap his friend Jumaru's wife. The following day, her dead body is found floating in a pond. Devastated at his wife's death, Jumaru brings her to his hut and he lights the entire house on fire. 9 months later, Faguna is collecting water from the pond when she accidentally falls into it. The women around her keep her in the water. When they realize that she is going into labor, Faguna gives birth to a boy in the pond. Only a year later, she gets pregnant once again. This time, Dashraf wishes that he has a daughter. To earn for his family, he goes to the nearest village. Meanwhile, at home, Faguna does housework in addition to taking care of their son and herself. She carries pots of waters through the hills every day. One day, while doing the same, she slips and falls off the hill while still pregnant. When Dashraf reaches her, she's covered in blood, but still alive. She breathlessly says that the hill was too tall so that she couldn't walk it. Dashraf and his friends carry her to the other side of the hill to get to the hospital. However, she loses a lot of blood along the way. At the hospital, she gives birth to her baby girl and passes away. Dashraf is devastated after losing his beloved wife. He blames the hill for her death and swears to build a road through it. Starting that day, he went to the hill every single day and hammered away at it. His only tools are a hammer and a chisel. On his second day of hammering, a politician arrives in town to talk to the Mukia. They bring along a journalist named Alakya. All of them make fun of Dashraf for trying to do the impossible, but Alak thinks that his story is interesting. 2 years have passed since the incident. It was now 1962, and Dashraf has still not given up. He walks to the hill every single day and hammers away at it. His father tries to convince him to stay home, but he never listens. While Dashraf is at work, the old man takes care of the children. The villagers make fun of Dashraf, but it does no harm to his spirit. He greets the mountain and talks to it like a friend. He mocks it for thinking he won't return every day. 5 years after starting, in 1965, Dashraf has grown his hair and beard, but he hasn't stopped hammering at the mountain. He has made some slight changes, but a roadway across the hill still seems impossible. While hammering away one day, he falls off a cliff and belittles the object for pushing him away. When he returned home that day, his father yet again asks him to stop trying to do the impossible and go get a job somewhere. Tired of his scolding, Dashraf decided not to return home. The next day, he builds a makeshift hut on the hill and calls it home. When the journalist Alak returns to the village after 5 years, he finds Dashraf still trying to break the mountain. He visits the lacking stock of the town and asks him for his motive. Dashraf sarcastically says that he's building the Taj Mahal. Alak promises to print his name in the newspaper once he creates the pathway. It has now been 6 years since he started to hammer. He has made significant progress, as now the climb to the other side is almost 1 hour less. The villagers thank him and claim that they will name the road after him. His daughter, Rajkumari, brings him food every day. However, his father has had enough of raising the children. For him, he leaves both Rajkumari and Bahajarath on the hill with Dashraf and returns home. Dashraf has no way to feed his children. so he starts to carry people's luggage across the mountain for money. A few months later, a drought hits the village. All the villagers moved to a different city, including Dashrath's father and his children. But Dashrath stays put in his decision. He works all day in the scorching heat with no water. After some days, the heat gets the best of him, so he goes to the village, but finds that it is empty. He licks the plant on the well's wall and keeps himself alive. After spending the night in the same well, he continues working the next day. He accidentally drops into a pit on the hills and finds a tiny reserve of water. He drinks from it and thanks the hill for saving his life. Similarly, while working one day, he is bitten by a snake. With no way out, Dashrath cuts off his own toe where he was bitten and falls unconscious. When he wakes up, it has started to rain, and the drought has passed. Soon after, people return to the village, and Dashrath reunites with his family. His father apologizes for calling him a lunatic. After seeing the progress he has made, one night, the Mukhia is attacked by leftist protesters. He is hanged in front of the entire village, but the ensuing shootout causes Dashrath's father to die. Following that, Alok comes to the village to report the event and take a picture of Dashrath for his newspaper. It has now been 12 years since he has started. When the election was approaching, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi comes to a nearby town to give a speech. He asks her to help him build the road, but she only takes a picture with him because of the publicity. The new leader of the village, Ruab, uses Dashrath to appeal for 25 lakh rupees to build the road. He has no intention of helping him and wants to keep the money for himself. Upon visiting the section office with Alok, Dashrath finds out about the matter. He goes to Ruab asking for the money, only to be made fun of. In a fit of rage, he decides to go to Delhi to talk to the Prime Minister and ask for his money. However, he cannot afford the train ride. When he is thrown out of the train, he decides to walk more than 1,000 kilometers to Delhi. After struggling for almost a month, he reaches Delhi and tries to meet the Prime Minister. But he has to reluctantly return home when a police officer threatens to throw him in prison. He returns back to the hills again, but this time he isn't alone. Inspired by his spirit, several villagers have joined hands to hammer the hills and create the path. However, seeing that he is influencing people, Ruab makes some corrupt policemen arrest him for tampering with the government's property. After he is imprisoned, he loses all hope, but the people he has inspired protest for his bail. When he is released, he expresses his gratitude to the crowd that has gathered before him. Following his release, he and the people soon complete breaking the hills enough to create a 360-foot long, 25-foot deep, and 30-foot wide path. After 22 years of work, he finally fulfilled the promise he had made the day Faguna died. The movie ends as the villagers dance and celebrate the making of the brand new path.